A very good evening to our viewers and welcome to the first edition of Primetime News this week. I'm Selima Shumwefeleni Masipa. We begin tonight's bulletin at State House, where President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah departed for Mozambique earlier this morning. According to Presidential Press Secretary Alfredo Hengari, the visit is part of a series of international engagements aimed at strengthening economic ties between Namibia and other nations. Here's an insert from the Namibian presidency.
For the Republic of Mozambique, Maputo, where she will have bilateral talks with the President of the Republic of Mozambique, His Excellency Mr. Daniel Chapo. This visit is a continuation of the regional visits that Excellency has been undertaking to a number of selected countries in the region, with the sole purpose of strengthening economic partnerships. President Nandi-Ndaitwah believes strongly that stronger economic partnerships with countries in the region are critical to position Namibia as a logistics hub and also to create stronger agricultural value chains, which the President is emphasizing as part of the priorities of the eighth administration. In Mozambique, the President will also emphasize the importance of stronger political cooperation with the Republic of Mozambique. As we know, Namibia committed resources to dealing with the situation in Cabo Delgado as part of the SADC mission. The President will re-emphasize in Mozambique the importance of peace and security in the region, for regional integration and the prosperity of citizens in the SADC region.
We now turn to a deeply disturbing incident where a 65-year-old British tourist was arrested on Sunday after allegedly instructing sand children at the Grashoek Living Museum in the Tsompwe West area to remove their clothes before taking photographs of them. Our journalist in the Oshodonjupa region, Mulisa Simiasa, filed this report.
A 65-year-old British tourist was arrested on Sunday after he allegedly instructed some children at the Grashoek Living Museum in the Tsompwe West area to remove their clothes and took photographs of them. The Namibian Police Force Head of Community Affairs in the Oshodonjupa region, Senior Inspector Maureen Beha, on Monday told Nampa the suspect allegedly also touched the children's private parts. She said in return, the boys and girls were reportedly compensated with money and sweets. Beha said the suspect allegedly touched the breast and buttocks of 16 teenage girls, while 14 teenage boys and 3 minor boys were allegedly also touched on their private parts. Some of the nude photographs of the children were allegedly found on the man's camera, which was confiscated by the Marula Boom police station where he was arrested. The tourist, who entered Namibia on the 15th of May on holiday, is expected to appear in the Grootfontein Magistrates Court this week. Police investigations in the matter continue. Isabel Muhepa reporting for Nampa TV.
Still on crime, the Namibian police force in the Zambezi region is investigating the alleged murder of 28-year-old Namakaliza Rosa Sitali, who was found dead in a pool of blood on Saturday morning at Sangwali village. Our Zambezi region correspondent is following the story and filed this report.
According to NAMPOL spokesperson for the Zambezi region and head of community policing Inspector Kisko Sitali, the deceased body was discovered in her boyfriend's residential courtyard by a woman who had gone to fetch water there. The NAMPOL spokesperson stated that the deceased was found lying on her bed with a cut wound on the throat and chest inflicted by what is believed to be a sharp object. Sitali added that preliminary police investigations revealed that the deceased was the girlfriend of a cattle herder who lives alone in the mentioned village courtyard. He added that the police found an axe and a saw inside the house with blood stains, which were photographed and taken as exhibits, along with a Zambian identification card allegedly belonging to the deceased boyfriend, which was also seized.
The 26-year-old suspect sustained burns to his arms and back, but is reported to be in a stable condition after he was rushed to the Choi Clinic and later transferred to Katima Mulilo State Hospital. The body of the deceased has been transported to the Katima Mulilo State Hospital for a post-mortem examination. Her next of kin have been informed of her death. Police investigations into the matter continues. Simsolia Kambonde reporting for Nampo TV.
On to international news. 2 million people are starving in the Gaza Strip, with the deliberate blocking of aid driving up the risk of famine, the World Health Organization chief warned earlier today. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said the World Health Organization and the other UN agencies stood ready to deliver aid into the Palestinian territory if and when it is allowed to enter.
Increasing hostilities, evacuation orders, shrinking humanitarian space, and the aid blockade are driving an influx of casualties to a health system that's already on its knees. People are dying from preventable diseases as medicines wait at the border, while attacks on hospitals deny people care and deter them from seeking it. Since November 2023, WHO has supported medical evacuations of more than 7,300 patients out of Gaza, including 617 cancer patients. However, more than 10,000 patients still need medical evacuation out of Gaza. We ask member states to accept more patients, and we ask Israel to allow these evacuations and to allow urgently needed food and medicine to enter Gaza.
Stay tuned for the top roundup, followed by the latest from the world of business. We begin our business segment with developments in the meat industry. The Executive Director in the Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation, Penda Nanda, says the ministry is developing a plan to expand Namibia's beef exports to other African markets. Nanda made the announcement earlier today during the ministry's 5-year strategic planning workshop held in the capital.
And so we are the only African country that exports beef to China. We are probably the only African country as well that export beef to the US market. And so we want to expand, but we want to expand our market, looking particularly at the African continent, because Africa, we are leaving ourselves out. And this free trade area agreement is supposed to facilitate that we come closer to each other as Africans, looking inward instead of looking outside only. When you look at the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, it's speaking to us trading among each other. So we want to see how we can trade with Angola, how we can trade with Zambia, how we can trade with Nigeria, how we can trade with Ghana, how we can trade with Congo, and so on. That we come up with a document that is going to guide the ministry for the next 5 years. We address the issues coming out of those documents, particularly looking at how we want to develop this country. How do we want to trade when we come to trade? We have the Africa Free Trade Continental Area Agreement that we also need to implement. And this ministry is going to be the lead in implementing this document. We have signed up, we have ratified, and now we have to now see how we are going to trade among ourselves.
Now, a look at business developments in the European Union. The European Union has significantly revised its Eurozone economic growth forecast for 2025, citing rising global trade tensions triggered by US President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs. European Commissioner for the Economy, Valdis Dombrovskis, announced that the 20-member single currency area is now expected to grow by 0.9%, down from an earlier projection of 1.3%.
The EU economy remains resilient despite the challenging circumstances we face. We expect moderate growth this year and an acceleration of growth next year. So EU's GDP is expected to grow by 1.1% in 2025 and 1.5% in 2026. The euro area economy is expected to grow by 0.9% this year and 1.4% next year.
Let's now turn to the weather oracle for tomorrow's countrywide forecast. Welcome to Sport Planet, the segment dedicated to all things sporting action. Football dominates this segment. Fans gathered at Goodison Park, the home of Everton Football Club, for over 130 years for the final game before the men's team moves to a new purpose-built stadium in Liverpool. Home of the Toffees since 1892, Goodison will play host to Everton's women from the next season as the men move to a new 52,000 capacity stadium.
It is an end of an era. Yeah, I'm a bit gutted about leaving this ground, but it's the progress that we're going to take into it, moving into a new stadium where we can hopefully win some more trophies and let the women team have a good chance in being in Goodison Park and playing some more football.
Feel amazing, mate. Like, look around, look at the scenery, look at all the flares, all the blue everywhere. Been to a few of the relegation games. None of them have got anything on this game. It's amazing. I've never felt anything like this before.
Yeah, no, it's sad, but it needs to happen. It needs to move on to bigger and better things. But yeah, I miss this place. It's home.
133 years. I've been in my seat for 20 years. There's so many more people. Hundreds of people have sat, thousands of people have sat in that seat. So to be able to come here in the last game, pay homage to it's really important to us all.
Turning to developments in Dutch football, Francesco Farioli has resigned as head coach of Ajax just one day after the club suffered the disappointment of finishing runners-up in the league title race. The club's technical director described the resignation as incredibly disappointing. PSV Eindhoven were crowned champions on Sunday, capitalizing on Ajax's dramatic collapse in form. Despite leading the table by 9 points with 5 matches to go, Ajax managed only 2 draws and suffered 2 defeats in their final fixtures. In a statement, the club confirmed that Francesco Farioli has decided to leave Ajax after careful consideration, adding that he had formally informed the board of his decision. Although Farioli had helped revive Ajax's fortunes after taking over in May 2023, at a time when the team was flirting with relegation, he said his departure stemmed from differences with the board on the club's future direction. And with that, we wrap up for this evening. Thank you for joining me tonight on Primetime News. We'll be back again tomorrow, so be sure to join us again. Before I sign off, don't forget to follow the on-screen prompts to stay updated on the latest local, continental, and international news. We always welcome your thoughts, so feel free to interact with us in the comment section. From myself, Selima Shumwefeleni Masipa, and the entire production team behind the scenes, it's good night.